Good evening there, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day today. So, I thought that I would review this little video. Of course, for those of you that watched the game last night on Sunday Night Football, of course, there was a very, very big game between Josh Allen's Buffalo Bills and Patrick Mahomes' Kansas City Chiefs. And I was really looking towards this matchup. I did pick the Buffalo Bills because the Kansas City Chiefs right now, they don't really look like they know exactly where they are. They don't really look like they know their identity. And after that Super Bowl loss, ever since they've had that loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have not looked like the same team mentally when it comes down to it. Also, I have heard that possibly there could be a problem with the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. I do believe that they got rid of some of the offensive line players. That could be a little bit of the problem as well. I'm not sure. But this is really going to be a big shower of where the hell Patrick Mahomes is going to go in his career. Because Patrick Mahomes, he has had the most amount of hype out of any other quarterback that I've seen within the past years, at least within his first 3 seasons, however long he's been playing now. And let me tell you what, Patrick Mahomes, I think all in all that he pretty much has lived up to the hype. Patrick Mahomes, all in all, man, he and he was not a person overall that had the hype around him like, say, a Peyton Manning did when he came out of college. Because, of course, Patrick Mahomes, he was never expected to be this good. But Patrick Mahomes, it's very clear to me that he is probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Patrick Mahomes, he clearly is going to end up as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But I need to see overall where he ends up. And I need to see overall what he does within this season or within the next couple of seasons. Because right now, it looks like the Chiefs are suffering from what is called as a Super Bowl hangover. And we'll have to see what level he ends up being on. Is he going to end up on the Tom Brady level? Is he going to end up overall on the Peyton Manning level? Or is he going to be another Aaron Rodgers, or a Drew Brees, someone overall that made one Super Bowl or made a couple Super Bowls and was only able to win one, win a couple MVPs or a couple Offensive Player of the Year awards, and then never win another Super Bowl ever again. We'll see overall what happens. Anyways, Shannon and Skip, they're going to talk about overall what they thought on the game yesterday. I wasn't able to watch the full game, but I was able to watch pretty much the first 3 quarters, all in all. And this Buffalo Bills team, and I said this coming into this season, they were going to be the biggest challenge for the Kansas City Chiefs. And some people, they might say that that's obvious because obviously they made it against the Chiefs with in the AFC Championship last year. But the reason why I'm really so impressed with the Buffalo Bills is not only because of their defense and, a certain amount of other things. And their coaching, I think, is pretty good as well. But Josh Allen is one of the most talented quarterbacks that I've seen within a certain amount of years. That kid, Josh Allen, he can play his ass off. He can make throws overall down the field that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. I mean, his talent level is right up there with anybody. And that's why when I made a video earlier on, about a month ago now, I believe, because it was either right before the NFL season started or maybe during that week, I can't remember. But I made a video about Lamar Jackson and Stephen A. Smith and Keyshawn Johnson. They were talking about where they rank Lamar Jackson and who are their top 5 quarterbacks, who would they count as elite. Well, the only elite quarterbacks you really can count are the ones that have won something, in my opinion. That would be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson. Those are the only quarterbacks that you can count 100% as elite at this point in time right now. But Josh Allen, man, he is very, very close. He is right there. And Josh Allen, in my opinion, he has to be at number 5. Because not only has he made an AFC championship, and that is something that Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert, that's something that they have never made. But that kid, Josh Allen, can make throws that almost none of those other guys can make. Justin Herbert, though, he's very talented as well. I'm going to be very curious to see where, where he goes. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be a very interesting NFL season. Skip and Shannon, they're going to talk about what they thought on the game. Let's get into it.
Threw 2 touchdowns and had 2 picks as Kansas City fell to 2-3, still in last place in the AFC West. So Shannon,
I mean, that was quite a wide open throw, but Josh Allen, like I said, this is why you have to give a quarterback 3 seasons, because it took him all the way up to his 3rd season to really become this talented. When that 3rd season, they really start to show you what their full potential could possibly be. And that last season, which I believe was Josh Allen's 3rd season, that dude is going to be a great quarterback. Like, that dude, I would not be surprised if he won a few Super Bowls in his career. He is that damn talented. We'll see overall what happens. But you do have a certain amount of competition. The AFC is very, very stiff competition this year. The Chiefs, I do think, will possibly be back in the mix, but they're going to have to step on things. They're going to have to start stepping up. Of course, the Las Vegas Raiders, they could possibly be a threat. the LA Chargers, and of course the Denver Broncos. They're in that division as well, even though they're not super duper talented, but it is what it is when it comes down to it. And then of course you have the Baltimore Ravens and, the Cleveland Browns and even the Cincinnati Bengals who might make a push. Even though Joe Burrows, I believe that he just ended up getting injured, so that's unfortunate. But we'll see overall what happens. But the Buffalo Bills, man, they look like the biggest threat within the whole entire AFC right now, if not within the whole entire National Football League. I don't see another team, in my opinion, that would 100% beat them right now. I think that they got a little bit unlucky in week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but every other week they've been very, very good.
With the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, I'm reminding you of that. So how worried are you about your pick to win it all?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10, Skip. But I've been worried since opening day. And what we've seen, Skip, I think they put on the screen last night.
I'm pretty worried about the Chiefs right now as well, because they do not look like they're the same team mentally. And Patrick Mahomes, even though obviously he's still very, very talented and he's making some plays here and there, you let some games slip away that you really should have not let slip away. I mean, you let that one against, I believe, the Chargers slip away overall with that last-minute fumble, And on top of that, you also let the one against, they let another one slip away too, but I can't remember over who it was against. I believe they're 2-3 now. So they've lost 3 games. They lost to the Bills, they lost to the Chargers, and no, they didn't lose to the Browns. I think they won that one. They lost to another team as well, but I can't remember which one it was.
Since 1970, they're the first team to allow at least 29 points to start the season in all 5 games, and the defense seems to be getting worse. And what's happening is that Patrick, my homeboy, needs to understand my defense is not good enough to bail me out if I turn this ball over. Now, that first turnover, Skip, there's nothing you can do about that. He hit Tyreek right in the hand. Tyreek muffed it, and the guy gets a pick
Agreed.
6.
I'll give you that one.
I agree.
Niang, you need to understand, Skip, and this is why.
Like I said, this is going to be a big teller of where Patrick Mahomes is at. Like I said, so far within his first 3 seasons, his peak to me is already higher than what an Aaron Rodgers was. But he might be very similar to an Aaron Rodgers, to where he only makes, few big appearances in his career, and then the rest of it is just really not as impressive. So we'll see overall what happens.
And I never understood this until after I was done, is that Mike would get on us even if we did something, if the play went good, but if we didn't do Mike Shanahan, if we didn't do our responsibility, he'd say this will come back and bite us at some point in time when we least expect it. Okay, the ball's going to come out of Mahomes' hand quick.
The Kansas City Chiefs right now, they look like the Seattle Seahawks that one year that the Carolina Panthers made the Super Bowl. Like, I remember when the Carolina Panthers, they were undefeated at that point in time. I think they were like 3-0 or something like that. And overall, they were facing the Seattle Seahawks next. And the Seattle Seahawks, I think overall that they were either 2-1 or they were 1-2. I think actually that they were 1-2. But when it comes down to it overall, they ended up actually winning that game. And of course, no one took the Carolina Panthers seriously at the point in time because, they were losing a certain amount of pieces that season. And I did not think they were going to do extremely well either. But they ended up going 15-1 and going to the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs right now, they kind of look like the Seattle Seahawks from that year, to where the Seahawks, they have that Super Bowl hangover as well, to where they're really looking for their identity right now. And I think they're going to have to step things up, because if they don't, they could very easily not make the playoff, even with 7 seeds.
Niang needs to cut Russo to get his hands down, but he blocks him like a regular play.
He did.
Russo gets his hands up, boom.
Russo is 6 feet 7 inches tall.
So that's what you do, Skip. You try to cut him so he can get his hands down so you can throw it quick. He sees it, gets his hands up, gets a pick, boom, basically ends the game like that. And another thing defensively, Frank Clark, what are you doing? I get that Josh Allen jumps, but you power drived him. The officials looking at the referee, that's his job, to look at the quarterback. You power drived him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know Chief fans
drove him in the turf.
Drove him into the dirt. And I know the Chief fans are upset. It's like, how do you know?
It was a big play.
It was a big play because you got an interception.
Yep.
You had the momentum. Now they get the ball back. They methodically go down the field, get a touchdown to end it. But Skip, the fear factor and what we're starting to see is that Tampa gave everybody the blueprint.
Yep.
So you play shell coverage.
I think I agree a little bit. In Tampa Bay, like I said, they affected them so badly. Like, they had Patrick Mahomes. The same way that they affected Kansas City is the same way that the Denver Broncos affected my Carolina Panthers all the way back in that one Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 50. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers offense, they were so confident coming into that game. But they very quickly learned that this is a new type of defense. This is a completely new monster. Because that Denver Broncos team, they were trying to kill Cam Newton. They were trying to get on his ass the whole entire time. And it was the same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It reminded me of very, very similar performance of Super Bowl 50.
Which means you keep your safeties deep.
Yep.
You don't let anything get over your head. And we drop everybody in coverage, and we try to get home with 4. Well, what they try to do is that they say, you know what? We don't believe Kansas City will stick to the game plan and run the football. They started out kind of like Wilder. We're going to talk about Wilder. He started out with that jab. He started out with that.
Sometimes that's a real problem with that team. And you know why that's a problem? Because of Andy Reid. Andy Reid is not a person overall that likes to run the football consistently. You have to run the football and you have to pass. Because you have to not only trick the other team, but you have to try to tire out that defense. Running is really what tires out that defense.
Jam, and Sugar Hill say he ain't gonna stay with. He running out of gas. Look at him over there.
Yep.
Look at him over there. They're not gonna stick with.
And I'm gonna be reviewing the Deontay Wilder fight as well and see what Skip and Shannon had to say about it as well.
That's not who they are.
And by the way, Edwards-Helaire got hurt, and it did not look good.
It didn't look good, Skip. But they were not even running the ball before Edwards-Helaire. If you look at what they do, Philly, they ran the ball light box. Skip, if there's a light box, they're inviting you. You got to be committed to running the football, even if you only get 1 to 2 yards.
Did they lose to Philly? I don't think they lost to Philly. I know my Panthers just recently lost to Philly, but I'm trying to think, did they lose to Philly? I don't think. No, I think they won. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they won that one. Who the hell else did they lose to? Was it the Raiders? I don't think so, because the Raiders, they have 3 wins. They won against Miami, Baltimore, and someone else, but I can't remember.
You got to stick with it. And so now you get in a situation where they know it's 3rd and long. They play coverage, and Mahomes doesn't have those lanes because everybody's deep because they're not going to let Tyreek take the top off the coverage. But I'm very concerned, Skip, because their defense is bad. They got I don't know who has the worst.
That'd be so hilarious that Patrick Mahomes, if he's going to get the same ass excuse that Aaron Rodgers has gotten all these years. Because what have we always heard about from Aaron Rodgers fanboys for the past I don't know how many years? He doesn't have the right defense and all sort of bullshit when it comes down to it. We'll see what happens. The Chiefs' defense, in my opinion, so far, I mean, they haven't looked like the worst, but they certainly could be better. But when you don't have an elite-style defense, you got to make sure that, you don't make those type of mistakes. Patrick Mahomes did have 2 interceptions yesterday, I believe. He's got to improve on that.
Defense, but they're fighting Kansas City for the worst defense, whomever that may be it Jack.
And Andy Reid has got to learn how to run the football a little bit more because that is a lot of the times what tires out that defense. And, you might be able to come back and wear them down in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Jacksonville, be it Seattle, but all of those guys are right there together fighting for the worst. And now,
some moments I think it's the Buccaneers. But go ahead, because they're so decimated in the back end. But go ahead.
But Skip, look, you see, Kelsey took a big shot last night. He didn't come back in the game.
He did not.
Said Tyreek is dealing with a knee issue. Edwards-Helaire got dinged up last night. They're in trouble.
They're in very big trouble. 5 games in and you're 2-3. I understand that there's 7 seeds right now, but I understand that there's 7 seeds, but you're gonna have to kick it up a notch.
Are you ready to back off your Super Bowl pick? Ready to give it up?
Skip is not looking good. Buffalo, look.
My Super Bowl pick either for this year was at least for the AFC. I guess so. Then I guess I shouldn't say Super Bowl pick, but I guess my favorite overall to make it out of the AFC, my favorite actually was Buffalo this year.
I got several teams. I got Buffalo.
But Buffalo is, they're dangerous. They're in their prime right now, and they won a very, very big game. And let me tell you something, that's going to be a huge confidence booster because certain teams, to make the Super Bowl, it's all sometimes about momentum. Now, the best of quarterbacks and the best of teams will be consistent when it comes down to it. But Buffalo right now, man, they could easily make a run for the Super Bowl. I see that no problem.
In front of them now.
And you're talking about that division that is not super duper competitive. You have the New England Patriots who are okay, but they're not really great. The Miami Dolphins, they don't have their main quarterback right now. They're not really going to make a run. And then, of course, you have the god-awful Jets.
I got the Chargers in front of them now. Obviously,
don't be surprised if the Buffalo Bills, if they legit go 13-3 they're 17 games now, right? 17 games. Don't be surprised overall if you see them overall go 14-3 or 15-2. Don't be surprised, man. Don't be surprised.
Ravens are in front of them now. All those teams they've lost to. There's some good teams, but
Oh, that's who they lost to, the Baltimore Ravens. That's right. They had a last-minute fumble in that game and they blew that game away. That's right. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens.
Kansas City might be the fourth or fifth best team in the AFC currently.
By the way, I know you're still very down on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to talk about them in a few minutes. What happened on
The Steelers are done. The Steelers are not going to win anything this year, even if they somehow do make the playoffs. And that's even going to be a big if.
opening day? The Steelers went to Buffalo
A little glip.
and dismantled Buffalo?
If Buffalo played Pittsburgh right now, they beat them by 14.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They'd beat them more by that. I think they'd beat the hell out of them. I think Pittsburgh, I think that they got a very lucky win in that first week. And I'm not a person that usually likes to use the word lucky because I don't often believe in lucky. But, I think they caught Buffalo when they were just first, stretching their hamstrings overall and, warming up in that first game. They got a very lucky punt return, I believe, or not punt return, but block punt return for a touchdown. I don't think they'd beat them, but we'll see.
Oh, I think Pittsburgh's rounding back in shape as they displayed against your Denver Broncos.
Man, stop that.
Well, you love your Broncos defense, and Ben just took it all apart yesterday.
They had more success running than I thought they would.
Okay, here we go. So, what did I see last night? I'm going to start with your homeboy, my homeboy.
Yeah.
I have never wavered on this. I think he's a great kid with a great arm, all-time great arm, and the greenest light in the history of light.
Right.
From an Andy.
Well, we can say that overall, but the people overall that, try to deny Patrick Mahomes' talent, let's be real. Patrick Mahomes overall, he's an extremely talented QB. There's no debate about that. Patrick Mahomes overall, he is debatably the most talented QB when you talk about debatably what type of throws he can make. Now, once again, we're going to see overall how great he truly is this season because he's missing some pieces overall that, he had last year. So the greatest of quarterbacks, they have to make the best out of a situation. We'll see what happens.
Reid, who is spoiling him rotten because...
Well, Andy Reid also sometimes can be a little bit of a detriment. Don't get me wrong, I think Andy Reid is a good coach. But I don't think that he's as all-time great as some of these other coaches out here. Some people may disagree, but it is what it is. I don't think he's on the same level as a Bill Belichick. I don't think he's on the same level as some of these other guys because he can get easily outcoached by some of these other teams, especially the teams that run the football.
He is trying to get away, and often does get away, with near murder as far as what a quarterback should try or not try. But after a while, you just can't do that. So now he has 6 interceptions. He had 6 all of last year. He is devolving as a quarterback to me because there's no more discipline left in his game. He's trying to live up to the hype, which is hard not to live up to because you and everybody else says, never seen anything like this. Did you see that?
He does have to be careful because I think on certain plays he tries to put a little bit too much sauce in them, and there's just no reason for that. Patrick Mahomes, he can make, some of the greatest throws, but sometimes you just got to keep things simple. I do think that Skip has a little bit of a point there.
Throw off platform, it's like it's completely off the world. There's never been anything like some of the throws that he pulls off.
Right.
No looks. I'm waiting for behind the back, between the legs. Right.
Well, you saw the jump shot touchdown to Kelsey last night.
Okay, so he did that, and yet I want to show the one catch that Josh Gordon made in his first stint as a Kansas City Chief.
Right.
Welcome back, Josh Gordon. And
one of my friends said that Josh Gordon overall, that he was on this team, and he said, man, that's just unfair. Josh Gordon is a very unreliable dude. Don't get me wrong, he's talented, but I believe that that's that dude that's always on drugs and always ends up getting in trouble. When you have a wild card, they sometimes can be a benefit, but they also can be a detriment. And Josh Gordon, he's just never going to be 100% reliable.
this is kind of a no look. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if he knew what it was. He just says, I'm just going to throw this.
I thought he was throwing it number one, McKinnon.
I thought so, too.
That shows all Patrick Mahomes' talent right there. That dude is very, very talented. Let me tell you what, though. Josh Allen, man. Josh Allen can make some of those throws as well. I'm not necessarily going to say that he's quite talented as Mahomes, but he scrambles extremely well. He makes great decisions under pressure. He is extremely accurate with the football, man.
I think he was throwing it to number one also because he just jumps and flings into the middle of the field. It's like everything was wrong about that play except the big guy, Josh Gordon, who goes about 6'3", 225.
Yep.
He went up and snatched it. That was his one and only catch for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he gets away with those sometimes, and sometimes your luck can turn against you where you keep trying and trying and trying, and nobody is like even slapping your wrist.
Right.
No, we can't do that, Pat.
Right.
You know, we can't do that. We got to let's try to clean it up a little bit.
And the thing is, Skip, sometimes you have a defense that can bail you out. When you make a mistake like that, you have a defense that can bail you out. But their defense isn't good enough. I don't know what else Sorensen has to do. Maybe he's married to Andy Reid's daughter. Maybe he knows somebody in the organization. But Skip, you cannot be that bad.
God damn. They're making the same allegations that they were making when Jason Garrett was the head coach, and who the fuck is that one dude who owns the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry, whatever the hell his name is when it comes down to it, he wouldn't get rid of the damn head coach.
He takes knocks.
He has made plays in the past, but lately he's been...
Skip, he carries the tight end up the field. He has a man, and it just drops him.
He just gave up on
and then he looks around like, what?
Well, it was like he thought, like in the clock in your head, 1001, 1002, but Josh Allen had gotten outside the pocket. Well, he's extending the way Patrick extends plays.
And you take... Skip, he's like Patrick Mahomes with his ability to extend plays and to make plays. Now, he got better legs than Patrick Mahomes because he can motor. So give me something.
Yeah, that dude Josh Allen, man. That dude Josh Allen can run. He can play. He can do everything. That kid Josh Allen is going to be a very special quarterback as long as he don't get injured.
He ran that quarterback draw yesterday.
Well, speaking of motor, let's see the early fourth quarter motor. It was 34. And this just basically sealed the deal. If we
when you heard him?
This is pretty special for, what do we call him, 6'5",
Easy.
240?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty athletic. I'm not going to say it's all-time great, but 6'5", 240, that's pretty
The only
athletic.
other guy I think in the NFL that would attempt that is Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Him and Lamar
Cam Newton as well.
was the only one that would be able to pull
he's
that
not in Lamar.
At least during his prime.
No, but I'm saying
athletic ability.
that would know, okay, the guy going to go low, I'm going to go over the top of him.
Okay, and he went completely over the top of him. And I was impressed, and he was fired up, and his sideline went berserk.
Yes, because that sealed it.
That sealed the deal. 3rd and 4, I got this. He impressed me even more with his legs last night than his arm because he led them in rushing with 11 carries for 59 yards.
Yeah.
That will work.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yes.
And he obviously threw some rockets that you just...
He can throw it, Skip.
He and Justin Herbert are up there.
One of his teammates said that apparently he can throw it over 100 yards. Now, that's something that I would have to see. But I'll tell you what, man, he can throw that ball. Like, Josh Allen looks like he can throw it about goddamn like 70-something yards, like easy.
Of young rocket arms where you just say, well, that's just too good.
And in Buffalo, Skip, you need that kind of arm because you know what the weather gets like in Buffalo. You know how that wind be blowing.
Okay, so what shocked me when I looked at the final stats last night was my homeboy and company had the ball.
Even talking about my Super Bowl pick, like right now, it might actually have to be the Buffalo Bills. Tampa Bay, of course, they're going to be very dangerous as well. The LA Rams, they're talented, but I don't trust Matthew Stafford in the playoffs in tight game situations. The Baltimore Ravens, I think that they're very talented. They could potentially be a threat. Don't underestimate them. The Browns, they could possibly be a threat as well. The Chargers, of course. But I just think that they're a little bit too inexperienced to compete with the Buffalo Bills right now, who have some playoff experience. The Raiders, of course, they're starting to go downhill. The teams in the AFC, the only teams that maybe would defeat the Bills. The Chiefs, if they find some identity, but I just don't think this is going to be their season. The Baltimore Ravens could potentially be a threat, and the Browns. Chargers as well, but Chargers, I think that this is their first season going to the playoffs in a little bit, especially with Justin Herbert. And quarterbacks, they don't usually do extremely well when it's their first postseason, especially against great teams. And this is a great team, man. I don't see a team in the AFC beating them. And even if we're talking about the NFC, do I see any NFC teams beating the Buffalo Bills? Potentially the Rams, if they somehow make it, because their defense is very, very good. Even though it doesn't look as good as last year, we'll see what happens. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that would probably be the best bet if the Buffalo Bills were to lose in the Super Bowl. because they have a very good coach in Bruce Arians. And on top of that, Tom Brady, of course, he's always reliable. And they still have a very, very talented defense as well. We'll see what happens. Tampa Bay, I'm not counting them out. I got to wait to see what happens in the playoffs. Dallas is going to be a problem as well. But if Dallas were to face the Bills, I just don't know if Dak is going to be consistent enough to compete with Josh Allen. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see what happens. And the defense on Dallas, even though they're better, I'm not sure if they can compete with the Bills' defense either.
For 79 plays, and Josh Allen had it for only 54 plays, so that's plus 20.
This is really the most interesting NFL season that I've seen in a while, because this is this is really the first season that, in I don't know how many years, where I'm like, damn, I really don't know who the hell is going to make the Super Bowl this year.
25 plays for the home team. Well, usually that would indicate visitors are in trouble, right? Guess what? On yards per play, Buffalo last night was 8.1, and Mahomes' offense was 5.0. So every time they gained yards, they gained an average of 3 more yards per play.
Yes.
Well, that's how you did this.
Exactly.
Because in the end, it was a runaway in favor of the visiting team. And you cannot tell me they weren't ready to make a statement. I know after the game, Josh Allen saying it's only week 5, it's only 5 games, blah, blah, blah. No,
But you wanted to come in there and show, Skip, because
statement was made.
this was the AFC Championship match.
I agree as well, but you know what? I like that mentality. I like it when people say that it ain't over. I like that mentality.
Yes.
Last year, and you wanted to show.
And you weren't really competitive in that game.
You came to their house and did this.
Mm-hmm.
This was not, well, you know what? Not only did they beat them, they beat them up.
Yes, they did. That's why I say, man, their momentum right now is absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, if they won this game overall, they're going to go places. I have no doubt in my mind. The Buffalo Bills right now, they have to be my Super Bowl favorites. Or, well, let me say this. At least my favorites to make it out of the AFC. Because I would not be surprised if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or maybe the LA Rams had made it out. Maybe even the Cardinals. Who the hell knows? If one of those teams make it out of the NFC and somehow they win the Super Bowl. Some people may say, well, why aren't you bringing up the Green Bay Packers? Well, I just can't trust Aaron Rodgers in big playoff games when it comes to really, really tight games. And I'm talking about, I'm talking about teams that actually can pull it out. So that means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and perhaps maybe the Arizona Cardinals. So we'll see there. But when it comes down to the overall, and the Arizona Cardinals, they don't have a lot of, they don't have any playoff experience with Kyler Murray as well. So we need to see how he performs as well. But I predict that he'll at least be going to the second round, depending on which team he faces. But we'll see what happens. But when it comes down to the overall, that'll be very, very interesting. I'm very excited to see what happens.
Kansas City is questioning, man, that defense is questioning, that offense is questioning itself. I don't care.
I agree as well. I see the same thing. They're really questioning their identity right now. They're having a Super Bowl hangover. Like I said, that that offense has never been the same after that Super Bowl.
Put on all Andy and my homeboy can put all the positive spin they want to. But you're after getting beat like this, you quit. Skip. And the last, what was it? I think after Mahomes turned the ball, fumbled that ball. They had 10 men in the box.
Yep.
You know Buffalo is not going to throw a pass. All they're going to do is run, and you can't get the ball back with 10 in the box.
Maybe you're just not good at. They did lose Chris Jones in the second half, so I think
I don't think he played the whole game.
Was it the whole?
Yeah, he didn't start. He didn't play at all because they got Frank Clark back.
Yeah. Well, they missed Chris Jones last night. They were not getting any heat on.
No, but they get nothing.
Okay, so in the end, if your team is going to rally and be even respectable and be a playoff team, because they're going to have a hard time coming back in that division.
Oh yeah, I don't believe they can catch the Chargers. The Chargers are really good.
They are really good, but I need to see how they handle it because they're having a lot of success right now. But there are some games overall to where you can say that they potentially slipped away. I think that they are really good. Now, of course, momentum, that can mean everything. And the fact that they came back against the Chiefs and I believe also recently beat the Browns, but maybe I'm wrong. But I doubt Shannon would be talking about them like that if they didn't. So I'm assuming that they beat the Browns when it comes down to it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes down to the overall, I need to see them in the playoffs first.
Quarterback.
Okay, your quarterback, Mahomes, is going to have to clean up his act. He's going to have to grow up some more.
A little bit, yes.
He's going to have to live down to the hype, and he's going to have to start making throws that are makeable because you need to up your percentage and complete the easy ones instead of the impossible.
He had an easy throw to Kelce for about 30 yards, and he overshot him by 10 feet. And I was like, oh, I sure hope this is not a sign of things to come. And it was.
We'll see what happens.
Buffalo beat him up, Skip. There's no way around it. Buffalo, A. I can just imagine you get up there in January and all you hear is, let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. They're going to be tough.
They brought me
Yes, they are.
around last night because that's the best overall game I've seen Josh Allen play in the bright lights. That was big time.
Exactly. And that was my same worry as well. But Josh Allen, he proved it to me.
Yeah, he elevated it.
Now, can he do the same thing in the playoffs?
For sure.
Can you
All
that's going to be a big-time game. They
Josh
play
Allen.
Tampa, Skip, in Tampa.
Yes.
It's later.
I think
Anyways, that's really about it for this video. Next, I'll be talking about my Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury review on the Skip Bayless and Shannon show. Well, of course, not on there, but overall, I'll be reviewing their videos, what I mean. My bad. But anyways, when it comes down to the overall, that's pretty much the end of this video. That kid, Josh Allen, can play, man. I tell you what, he is going to be a great quarterback in my opinion, but he's going to have to be consistent. He's going to have to be very mentally tough. You have to be very mentally tough to be a consistently great athlete. All right? But we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's really about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see how this NFL season goes. I'm very excited. But that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later.